Hello, everyone. I hope everything is good and everyone's making the good use of their lockdown period. Uh, I want to talk something about which I have already spoken a lot of time before, and this is something on synchronicity. It's a Vedantic concept by virtue and blend with the theories in psychology, especially by Jung. Now, I've said this over long before in earlier videos, but there's no harm in reiterating it because it's a very important aspect. If you dwell in this and understand, it can create a lot of platonic qualities in yourself. Synchronicity is basically that the space, time, and events come together, and a spontaneous solution is evolved. And this is an acausal phenomena. That means there's no cause and effect relationship, but it has a meaning behind it, and this meaning is rooted in consciousness. So once you go past your secret passages, dark alleys, and ghostful attics of your rational mind, you reach to a place which is the womb of all creation, from where everything is emerged into one. And that is the place where synchronicity is the rooted. And if you are anchored in that place all the time, then you can experience synchronicity in everyday life with every aspect of experience of life that you undergo. You can only get anchored into this space once you go beyond the body mind, and that to the rational mind, because synchronicity is yours. You are complete in a state of surrender, and once you are in complete state of surrender, you have no apprehensions as such to accept what's happening to you in the present. You accept the present the way it is, and that's why when you surrender, you allow things to happen, and your intentions would take shape with very effortless action. And this is not something mystical that's happening, this is quite practical. And once you're rooted into a state of reflective mind, of self inquiry, and you surrender completely, and all your desires, all your intentions are, are released in the universe, they orchestrate by itself, and you find them materializing in physical reality in your life. But synchronicity can only be experienced when you go past the rational mind. You cannot have partial doubts and cause and effect relationship in terms of your belief system. In Vedantic terminologies, it's called sankalpa. That means you have a very infinite, you have a very shallow intent of something, and that intent is released in the ecosystem of the universe, and it takes its shape to materialization with a very effortless action. And you can see this happening everywhere if you're a keen observer. I mean, how does the snow happens in winters? How does the breeze happens in summers? How does a caterpillar becomes a butterfly? And how does winds get influenced in the autumn break? The same thing happens to your intents and desires if you allow them to happen. When you go beyond the rational mind, there are no questions asked. And you have a very subtle intention. The subtle the intention, the easier it gets manifested. So, the human body itself is synchronized. I mean, and how can we think a thought and digest food, make a baby, and clean ourselves at the same time? So, it's synchronized. There's so many systems like central nervous system, endocrine system, cardiac system. All of them is working in a synchrony wherein you are not doing any effort to make it work in synchrony. The same thing happens to your intents and desires. So the word synchronicity is not mystical experience. I again repeating it for the sake of everyone to understand, is the most practical thing to happen to you in one's life if you submit to the divine consciousness within yourself. Meditation is one way to take you towards this. But once you touch that source of and the web of the womb of creation, then what happens is you are in this state in all states of consciousness. That means when you dream, when you're sleeping, when you're dreaming, and when you're in a wakeful state, all three states you are grounded, you are anchored in this womb of creation, which is beyond your rational mind, from where everything is infinite. It is the source of all experience, source of all thoughts, source of all perceptions, and source of all these entanglements. So when you got to the source, then you don't need any miracles. You are one. You yourself is a miracle. So reflect a bit on this term synchronicity. Try to be in that gap within the two thoughts, and you'll understand for your own self what synchronicity is as an experience. Once you let go beyond the secret passages and the rational mind. So there where exactly is one should understand that what kind of things that's taking place, which is actually behind the scenes. Why it's behind the scene is because the human intelligence has a very limited capability to understand that at the level of source, everything is not only interconnected or correlated, it's inseparable. And once you go past all your egocentric mind, you understand that nothing bothers you. Whatever your deepest desire is, in a form of a subtle intention, needs to be released in the universe. And you do whatever is required to do in that present moment. Rest it orchestrates. And you are grounded in this state all moments of your life, no matter what is your state of consciousness or what is your state of awareness. You are in this state in all states. You are grounded as in the being. So when you are there in the being, synchronicity takes place for itself. I mean, if I'm speaking right now something, it's creating pressure here, and I articulate something and you hear that. It's all synchronized. So reflect on this. In this very moment, you can ground yourself to the state of being. Once you do that, you need to do nothing after that. Everything is done through you, not to you. I repeat, everything is done through you, not to you. Thank you, and stay blessed.